accomplishment would be Tiffany Blue's biggest accomplishment. Just singing.
Just singing. Yeah. Okay.
So she's very she's not multifaceted.
She's not multifaceted. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So coming from a artist who played music, how was the transition from playing music to actually becoming a vocalist?
Well, okay, so that is fun to talk about.
Okay.
Because, like I said, I was in the band, and I don't know who pushed me to audition, because it was definitely not something that I would have been strong enough doing. Because, see, remember, it's the whole self-doubt, and they're not going to like me, but I auditioned for the stage band, and that was history. I mean, that was the best thing that I could have ever done to audition. And these guys, so it's like, it was one other vocalist. They're not easy. I mean, these guys were tough. They would, like the Apollo Theater where the guy comes out with the cane and pulls them out. Okay. These guys would throw stuff. Oh. But when you were good and when they liked what they heard, you knew it. Without a doubt. That was the biggest confidence booster ever. And I think I tried out with Good Morning Heartache.
Oh.
I think I did that.
That is a tough song.
But I was feeling it and tried out. And then, of course, the guys, like I said, they are tough. Said, well, why do we even need the other vocalists?
Oh, shoot.
So then you're up here putting, driving a wedge between people. But it was the best time. If I would give anyone, if any family, if anyone's listening that's in high school and they're under 18, do stuff like that. Get involved in things like that. Be involved in artistic type of things. If you think that you love acting, be in theater. Just do it, because that was the best senior year, the best, bar none, and it was all because of the stage band.
Wonderful. So it sounds like not only were you pushed as a professional and you had your own issues with perfection, but tell me where you fell in love with music.
My dad. And I'm going to get through this without getting emotional, but
this is Spirit Speaks. Let it flow.
Well, that's what we did. And, my dad really didn't listen to a lot of popular R&B music or pop music. None of that. It was jazz. That's why I knew Miles Davis. I knew Clifford Brown. I knew Ella Fitzgerald. I knew Sarah Vaughan. Those people, that was the staple. And on Saturdays, my dad that was our time together. Me and my dad. My siblings were not there. Now, all of us played instruments, but I was the only one that would be there, listening to his every word, talking about how Miles Davis, you see that, you hear that lick? You hear what he did right there? You see that turnaround right there? I want you to do that. When Al Jarreau came out, he loved Al Jarreau. And that's the stuff that we talked about. And that's what I miss. I definitely miss that. So, my dad, that's where it all started.
So it sounds like you will forever be Daddy's little girl.
Always.
Mm-hmm. Nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. Isn't it interesting how... Well, let me ask this question differently, because I could go down a rabbit hole. I have my own issues with Daddy, but that's another segment. So do you feel that you would have ever approached music had it not been for those Saturday sessions with your dad?
No.
Fair enough.
Yeah, my mom played an instrument, but my mom is very laid back. She doesn't really push because my dad did all the pushing, and she knew it's like they're being pushed enough. Let me just stand back. So I don't think my mom would have. Definitely, she wasn't into jazz. She was a lot into the pop culture. So it's because of my dad.
What? Miss Persley is a pop culture?
Oh my gosh. She is so pop. She is so cute as a button, and she is all about whatever's popular at that particular time. But, she'll find like a song that maybe Nat King Cole sings, and she'll say, "That's, baby, you could do that." Or she'll listen to my music, and she's like, "That's my baby." I mean, she's very proud, but she's just very laid back. Yeah.
So was that a challenge for you coming from, because women have a tendency oftentimes to follow the lead in the footsteps of the mother or the dominant female in their life. Did you find a happy balance between the expectations of your father and your mother's gentle pushing, or was there harmony in both?
No. There was no harmony.
Do tell.
There was dad pushing. That was it. So there's probably a reason why I have more male friends than I do girlfriends. I don't have time for, and this is a generalization because not all of us are like this, but women can be very petty, catty, superficial. It's all about, it's all about how my nails look, or it's all about how much money I'm spending for this or that, or what he's going to buy me. I don't need someone to buy me something but they actually go out, and that's the goal. So I'm very select when it comes to people that I allow in my life, and the majority of those people are not women. So maybe that's because I'm a stronger male dominated person in my life as a child, and that's what I connected to. But also, if I was, and when I walk into a meeting or the business that I'm in, financial business, and being an owner of my business, that's kind of overwhelming. You don't have a lot of women aren't running to say, "Ooh, I want to do that." So if it hadn't been for my dad always, just to give you a little story about my dad, he was a perfectionist, and if we brought home an 88, didn't matter that test was the hardest test ever, so why didn't you get an A?
Oh, you went through that too.
Oh, the grades were never good enough. But that's who we are. That's how we are who we are today, because he was like that. Now, the funny thing is, when Dad went back to school, he decided to get a degree. He was over 50 years old, and he is, before he passed away, retired minister. So being in the Methodist faith, you have to go to school literally 10 years to have a church. And my dad went back to school, and he took a class, and he actually apologized to me, and he said, "I'm sorry." I said, "Well, what are you sorry about?" He said, "You know that time when you would bring those bees home and you were really proud of those bees? I should have been proud of those bees with you." He said, "This class has been the hardest class," and it was a Spanish class, and he could not get over seeing that class. So he was devastated. that, and by the way, when he was in school, they called him Mr. Persley, just like Mr. Tibbs. They called him Mr. Persley. Even the teachers called him Mr. Persley. He was the kind of guy that he didn't even demand respect. He exuded it. I mean, when he walked in the room, they knew, I better not call this man by his first name. So that's just his presence. But yeah, he did apologize to me for that, because that was some, and I was the high-strung kid. I would wake up in the middle of the night if I didn't tell my parents every grade I got back. Then it was guilt, and yeah, I'm learning to get over that. This has been cathartic.
Oh, good.
Yes.
And I hoped that in these sessions, as we go through these series of finding ourselves, that we would impart a little bit of wisdom. So I receive a lot of your lessons. I commiserate with you on more than you know, especially when it comes down to that father-daughter relationship. But again, family, that's another story. So I think I'm satisfied, family, with the answer, the greatest accomplishment, because this is just Spirit's take on this. It seems like the greatest accomplishment was that you found that Phyllis Persley Scott was the greatest accomplishment. The journey from Tiffany Blue, getting rid of the need for massive perfection, and then just being okay with who you are as a person. So that's just my little 2 cents.
I love that. That is not 2 cents. That is gold. That is my biggest accomplishment.
I think so. That's just,
you know what? And this is what I had. I was thinking, when you were talking, what about finding yourself? One thing, no apologies, and it's a continuous journey of an awakening. And that is what has happened from Phyllis Persley, Tiffany Blue, Phyllis Persley Scott. Phyllis Scott has been an awakening. And anybody out there that wants to just, keep their eyes closed and not grow and not evolve, they're missing that. They're missing that growth. And I wouldn't change anything.
Wonderful. And why should you? Family, again, you are listening to Spirit Speaks with our in-house guest, Miss Phyllis Scott. Actually, I like the way that sounds.
I know, strong, right?
I like the way that sounds. It makes me want to just go get a cigar and have some scotch.
I like that. That's a good brand picture.
That is a good brand.
Hey, that may be the CD cover.
You know what?
Smoking a slim cigar with scotch.
We might have to.
I've taken 2 things from this.
One.
I've taken that artistic expression right there, and then my 3 deals. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, thank
so
you.
I will send you the bill for the therapy session tomorrow.
We don't work like that. No.
All right, family. We are coming up on another break. You've been listening to Spirit Speaks in our first edition of Finding Ourselves. What a wonderful opportunity to sit down one-on-one and have a real conversation about some tough topics. It's not always easy to talk about some things in our lives. We want to put on a presentation to the world that we have it all together. But family, just know, here at Spirit Speaks, this is a safe zone. So, producer man, my ride or die, give us some break music so we can carry this segment out, and then we're going to come back and wrap up. You've been listening to Spirit Speaks, family. Peace.
You make me smile with my